In this video, we'll have a look at how to create an order in CleanCloud. A quick note on this video is that there is an additional workflow available if you use barcoded garment tags, but that will be covered in another video. So in this video, we're going to look at the workflow for orders which will use regular garment tags. Of course, that means that they are not barcoded. So to create an order, we need to be on the New Order page. First, let's select a customer from our database. Here we can search for the customer by name. I could otherwise search even by phone number, as you can see here. Or I can also search by customer ID. For example, I have a customer called John Doe, to whom I assigned the customer ID number 6. And in fact, when I typed in 6, it allowed me to select John Doe from the list. However, if you would like to use custom IDs, just make sure you have this feature enabled from Settings, Admin, New Order page. Now, with that being said, we have John Doe selected, and we can now just select a few products for the order. So I'm just going to select a few of these on my screen here. It is also very likely that a default due date for your orders has already been set by your account administrator, but you can always double check if the due date of the order is correct for it by having a look at the submit button. In fact, here you can see it says Friday 1st of January, so it does give you an idea of when the scheduled due date is before you actually submit the order. So just double check that, but otherwise this should be configured already. And if you needed to otherwise manually change the due date for an order, you just go to the clock symbol over here, which is where our scheduling tool is. And you can see this is an install order which we want. We select the day on the calendar. So for example, I could put 31st, and then also, sorry, you can put the time as well over here as well for the order, for when it'll be ready. But like I said, just double check the submit button. But let's go ahead and submit this order so that you can see, as you can see here, it's been generated, order 51, and these are the details. Let's have a look though at some other types of orders, and also an important thing to note here with the order that we just created, order 51, is that this is a quick way, of course, I've showed you, of inputting an order. You can, of course, otherwise edit the details later if necessary. So I just wanted to give you a quick idea of how quickly you can actually place an order in CleanCloud. And of course, if you also want to learn more about editing an order as well, that's something that will also be covered in a separate video, so look out for that. I also though want to show you how a quick drop order works. So for this we need to select the customer. So for example, I can pull up John Doe again, and this is where then I would need to input the amount of pieces that John Doe has given me. So I put it in this quick drop field on the bottom right. I put in, for example, that John Doe gave me 5 pieces, and I can actually just go ahead and submit this order. And the idea though with the quick drop, the main reason why you would be using it is if, for example, you have a big queue in your store, you want to make sure you're processing orders as fast as possible, so that you can just get them out the door. And using this quick drop feature will also allow you to print a quick drop ticket. The idea generally though is you put the amount of pieces, submit the order, and edit the details later, as we will have a look at right now. So I've got 5 pieces in here. I can hit submit. I've already got the customer, of course, selected. So I can hit submit. And then the idea is that this order, 52, as is here in clean, when I have the time then, let's say all the customers have now left, I've got time to detail these orders. I can see here that it says 5 pieces where I'm highlighting. I can quickly select the edit button, and I can now actually select the actual pieces. So I've selected these 5. And then essentially I can hit submit again to update this order. And this is, by the way, how you edit an order, but again, that's covered more in depth in another video. Let's have a look at some other options now when creating an order. So I will use another customer here, so I'll put Maggie Smith, for example, And I'm going to cover various aspects on this page now. One of the first things now I'd like to point out is if you are using custom price lists, if you have custom price lists set up, you can assign the custom prices to the order from here. So I select hotel, I select the products, and the idea is that the prices for these individual products have already been configured for this price list we're selecting, right? So the idea is that you select the price list and then you just select the products, and it will change the prices of those products to the one set for the custom price list, in this case the hotel custom price list. Also, if I'm going to move this back to default prices, but if I otherwise select Express, you might have noticed prices changing in my basket here. So if I select Express, they have been updated to reflect the Express prices, which is something that would correspond to what is otherwise known as Rush in the US. So, for example, if the customer would like their order to be ready for the same day, they would pay, for example, extra for that. And so you just need to apply the switch and select the products, and it will make sure that the products have the express pricing applied. Another thing that is important, so if you see here, for example, I'll just deactivate the express switch, but if I select a product, the idea is that I can also use what we call here as fixed bars. Okay, so you can see here below that there are damages that I can choose from: bubble, button broken, button missing, etc., etc. There are stains, alcohol, biro, bleach, blood, coffee, etc., etc., and colors. So this is what I'm referring to as fixed bars, and you can detail the items the customer has given to you via the fixed bars here below. So the last product I selected was a polo shirt, and for example, I can add, let's say, I can add color green and let's say cream to the polo shirt. So I can add two colors there, and then I can add one damage and stain. So I can select, for example, the stain grease, and as damage, for example, hole. And as you can see, I select the product first and then the details. That's the idea with this method here. So then, for example, I would select the sweater. Now I'd put color blue and cream, and then stain paint, and damage, there's a tear, for example. Select the product, select the details. That's the idea. There is, though, another way of doing this, and the way is to use otherwise the what we call the edit item notes screen. So for example, if you don't want to do this one by one, you'd like to add all the details to the items at once, you can. And the way to do this is by clicking in the middle of an item in your basket. So you click in the middle, you click then on show all items, and you can add the details all at once, essentially. So you can put the colors from here if you'd like. You can put the damages from here as well, stains, upcharges, and you can also, by the way, include some other fields here. So for brand, you can as well. Just make sure you go to admin new order page, so settings, admin new order page, and you can also from here assign an ID. Again, that belongs though to a barcoded workflow, which will be covered in another video. So just wanted to point that one out. I'm going to also show you now another option, which is when you're using, if I select here wash and fold, the section at the top, I can now select, for example, laundry per pound, and this is how you add a weight product to an order. So the idea is that if you otherwise have a USB weight scale, there will be a read scale button on the right hand side of this field, which you can click on. It will give you the weight and input it in this field automatically. Otherwise, if you have a manual weight scale, you can input the weight here, put 10 for example, and hit submit. And the idea here is essentially that this £10 amount is the weight of the first bag the customer gave to you. So if they have another bag, you can select on the same icon laundry per pound, and you can put, for example, 8, and that's now the weight of the second bag. So you've got, as you can see here in the basket, one bag of £10, one bag of £8, and a total of 18. If you get this wrong, by the way, and you need to adjust the weight of the bags given to you by the customer, you can do this. However, it's not done in the way, in the same way which you would use for other regular non-weight items, for example. And the way, therefore, to adjust the details of a weight product inputted is to actually click on the product again. And what you would need to do is to essentially hit reset. And that will actually remove it from the basket, and that allows you then to input it again. So I can put, for example, 10 and essentially input it again. So that's the way you can edit the quantity. So that's a very important note. And the other thing is you can also otherwise use this here. So if I go to a non-weight product and I click on the quantity you see in the basket, I can add more quantity to this item. So I can say there's 5 hats, for example. I can also click on the price in the basket and I can adjust the price. So I can just put +5 if I want it to be 30. I can otherwise establish a unit price from here and it will update the overall price. So if I say the unit price is actually 10, it will then change the new price as well. Essentially, you can just update whichever of these fields you prefer, and it will adjust. As you will then see when I hit update, you can see the 5 hats now are set at 50, and it's highlighting it in orange to say that there has been a price adjustment made on this order. An important thing to note as well is that with regards to these fixed bars here below that we were talking about previously, you can actually choose to remove these if you'd like to. So if you don't want these to appear on your screen, you can remove them by going to Settings, Admin, New Order page. And you'll see that there is options for fixed bars, for colors, stains, and damages, which you can remove, essentially. So if you guys prefer, for example, to just add it all at once, you can always do it from here, and therefore you can remove these below. But it's up to you, of course, in terms of whichever option you prefer. Another thing is here is that we have a plus product icon on the screen, which is if you need to add an uncommon item manually. So for example, I can go here, I can put, for example, belt, quantity 1, price 10, pieces 1. The amount of pieces inputted will correspond to the amount of garment tags that get printed. So just keep that in mind. And then for any custom product we're creating, we can also choose to which section we would like to apply this custom product, essentially. And once I'm done, I can hit submit. And as you can see, the belt has now been added to the basket. Another icon you'll see on the screen is a photo icon. So if you click on this, you'll be able to upload a photo of a garment. You might want to do this if the garment seems to be damaged by the time the customer at the time the customer gives the garment to you. So it's just a way of you being able to keep track of it. So the photo that you that you take will essentially be retained on the customer's order. So you'll always be able to have a look, examine its condition compared to once it's cleaned compared to what it was. So feel free to use the photo option for this. Now, if a customer has any specific requirements for their order, we can add this information in the notes field. So if I, for example, input here, just as an example, I can select light starch. And then the idea is that if I want to save this so that it's retained for this customer's future orders, I just need to make sure that this switch save is activated. Very important that this switch is activated so that you can retain the note for future use. Also, another thing which we were looking at previously was a scheduling tool. So, you'll be able to choose a type of order here. Pickup and delivery orders will be covered in another video. So, this is specifically for install orders. And of course, we were looking previously also at how to select a date on the calendar to apply a due date to it manually and a time. And again, as mentioned previously, otherwise this due date and time actually should have been configured already by your account administrator, but manually you can also select the due date. Just select the time, select the date on the calendar, and it will minimize automatically. And also another key element is that you can also choose the payment method, which is right above the submit button. For this order, I will select pay by cash, and I'm going to also deactivate this switch. We do cover, by the way, split orders in the video called Create an Order Advanced, so have a look out for that. But I won't be covering that in this video right now. So we've got pay by cash selected, we've got a note inputted, we've got everything else we need, we've got the details of this order. One last thing I would like to show you before I submit this order is if I click on the upwards facing arrow on the bottom right corner, I can actually add a discount. So I can type in here, for example, 10%, and that has now applied a 10% discount to this order. The key thing to also know here is that your staff will either have or not have the ability to assign a discount to an order, but that will depend on their user permissions, which is something that we will also be covering in another video, how to set up your users, how to assign them the relevant permissions. Now, I'm going to hit submit. With that being said, I'm going to just minimize this, hit submit. And now we've generated the order. We can input the amount of cash received by the customer. So I could say, for example, 120. System tells you the amount of change you need to give, and I can hit submit. So this order has been submitted. The idea is that when an order has been submitted, it would then print out 2 receipts, one for you and one for the customer. And this will, though, also depend on your printer configurations in settings, printers. Also, the relevant Garmin tags will get printed, and this also will depend on your printer configurations. And a notification would get sent out to the customer, and surprise, surprise, this will also depend on your configurations, in this case in the admin notification section. We do also cover notifications in another video, so look out for that too. Lastly, once this install order has been created, it would move over to Clean and have a look at our video entitled Marking Orders as Cleaned to see what to do with that order next. And for more information on advanced options when creating an order, have a look at our video called Create an Order Advanced, where we will be covering many aspects of what it can be found here in this pop-up. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.